Hello, apa kabar semuanya? Welcome back again to the Python tutorial in which we are going to talk about, using Python in order to detect, maybe like see the insights of the presidential elections through sentimental analysis. Okay, so we have done a bit of explorations, we have done streaming, we have created our own Twitter developer applications, account, and now let's move on to the sentiments. So as what you have known, sentiments is one of the biggest applications that have been used throughout the years, especially if you talk about text, which is unstructured data. So it's something that you cannot quantify by numbers, just like that. But sentimental analysis is actually taking this unstructured data and create it into something structured in which that you can compare. And how it compares is that it basically creates a fairly quantitative value out of it. Okay, and in this section, we are going to use a Python library called TextBlob. Okay, so TextBlob, what it does is that it would like to extract subjective informations and it will assign some sentiments and subjectivity. Okay, and this is the kind of values that you can get from one. So you can see from polarity that minus means like minus is like -1 to 1. So -1 indicates something like extremely dissatisfied, 1 is like satisfied, something like that. And subjectivity is basically how informative a certain post is. So the less it is, the more informative it is, like news, and the more it is, then the more emotional it is. Okay, like maybe like Trump's very fanatic supporters, and then sees Trump like worshipping Trump like a god, and that will be very highly emotional kind of text that it has. Okay, so subjectivity high means that. And classifications, then we can create these two, which are very important in by using TextBlob sentiments. Okay, right, and I put priority, selectivity here, classification here. And if you are wondering of how it could work, then there is a link that I prepared for you, so you can just open it up. So it's a Penspace. How does it go? And basically it uses averaging methods. So I'm going to explain to you more about it, but basically this is sort of a code that we have. So let me try and code to you a little bit about how it works. Okay, so first of all, what you want to do is that you want to import. So from TextBlob, import TextBlob. Okay, so just run it, Control Enter, and wait for several while until it might take a little bit of time, depends on how it is. If you haven't got it installed, then please do like pip. So just cmd, okay, just cmd here. Okay, this command prompt, and then just pip install TextBlob. Very simple, just enter it. This shouldn't do much to me because I already have it installed. But yeah, let's just close it. I have already, and it finished running here. You can see the number. Okay, and let me just give you a simple demonstration. For example, the thing here is that for a text, a string, please put it as a text blob. So you create a text blob of string. So let's do this. For example, let's say that I have a string. I like ice cream. Okay, so I run it and it says I like ice cream here. So what about I like ice cream? Is it positive or negative? Well, I like ice cream is intuitively it's definitely a positive, unless you mean it sarcastic way, in which that it will be harder to generate because you need to see the whole context. Okay, but if you like ice cream, then it should be positive. So TextBlob allows you to do that by creating each of the string, and they convert it into a text block format in which that it is easily tokenizable. So tokenizable meaning that each of the words can be separated into bags of words, and then these tokens these code tokens, which is distinct kind of words, can be separated. Maybe like it's a past tense value, present tense value, verb, noun, and so on. So it has all the dictionary for it to be able to identify that, okay? Which is behind the screen. We don't see it on the computer. So let me run this, and it managed to put it inside a text block, okay? So remember here, T is capital T, B is capital B. So as long as you import it correctly and then you have text block installed, you should have no problem doing that. Okay, now the power of the text block is that it assigns easy way for you to generate insights of the data. So just dot here, and then there should be a lot of like wave polarity. So if I do this, then it assigns to me 0. And if it's subjectivity, then it assigns me 0 also. So sometimes it doesn't work because like can be different kind of things. I need to have like what? Like ice cream. Is it like as in like what, or is it like as in like good kind of like? So this is not clear here, that's why it's still 0. But if I put good here, and I try to see polarity, then there you go, it's 0.7 now. Wow, so that means it's positively correlated. Okay, so it's, and even worse, even better, if I put I like very good ice cream here, and if I put very here, you see it's 0.9. So it's more positive compared to before if you had very and good. But however, what if you say not? So like not very good ice cream. So what does it say? Well, let's run it and find out. It's a minus. Okay. So this is the kind of like power of text block, in which that it already has the dictionary that assigns all these values, and then afterwards that it will sort of like do the averaging methods. So averaging methods means that each of the words, each of the words, they have like their own confidence, subjectivity, intensity. Then afterwards, based on the combinations of the words, based on the context, whether like the form of speech, whether it's a verb or whether it's meant as a noun, you will actually give and map a specific different kinds of polarity. Okay, so sentence methods here, and this is quite good so far. So far I've tested, it's very good. You can actually put in some of the very bad words of course. Let me try shitty ice cream, for example. Well, yeah, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good, but it's a very good indicator nonetheless. So it's something that you want to take a look on like how this works. But if you find that it's actually quite good, like very good ice cream, okay, and then subjectivity, then you can see that it is quite subjective because it's quite emotional, you know, very and good, emotional, like very subjective, yeah. So this is a power of that. So how about if we apply it to all of the different tweets? So earlier on we have text. How about if we create a polarity columns here that reads all of these tweets and then create polarity and subjectivity for each? Well, we can do that. So let me delete this. Okay. So this is the things that I've done. So I've imported it. I find polarity, find subjectivity, and then I apply it to each of the tweets in the tweets value. Okay. And true enough, it gives me all of these subjectivity and polarity level. So it's quite cool. Okay. And afterwards we can do describe, like most likely they are like quite, if you see the mean here, they are quite in the average, whether they are satisfied or not, and so on. But afterwards, it's not enough. You want to satisfy that based on the number, whether they are unhappy, neutral, or happy. So we can do that by using cut. So what cut does is that it will cut based on the range. Let's say I have a range of the number of polarity -5 to to +5, and then I want to cut it whether it's unhappy and happy. So I cut it like equally. So -5 to 0, which is the 5, okay, difference, is unhappy, and then the other 5 is happy. So I cut it into 2. So this is what it does. So cut it from the lowest until the highest in terms of range and assign meanings and categories to them. So true enough, I run this, and let's take a look at the head. And you see here that I found priority text, and then this is happy because, well, priority is more than 0.5, so I assign it as happy. Okay? So there is one way that you can do it. And after that, I plot it out. So based on the Trump and priority, let's see whether I can link it to priority or Hillary priority, and then subjectivity. And afterwards, I create this table, which is sort of like contingency table. Okay, and we create a ratio, and finally just run it. Okay, so this is the kind of running that you will have. So this is quite good. And as you can see, how you can see here that it's quite cool to see that actually Trump's is not very it's not as widely seen like in ratio wise of happy compared to Hillary. But if you see here, like in terms of unhappiness, it's actually less ratio than Hillary. So something that you can see of general sentiment, especially if you see there are a lot of like happy ratio, unhappy ratios. So you know that something is going on, and you can see it with the meaningful and subjective. So meaningful, this could be because that there are a lot of news coverage of Trump, which uses a very objective remarks. So doesn't really use like good, bad, and many kind of different words that is seen as emotional. Okay. Then afterwards we can create a timeline, and there you go. I have 3 days here, and you can see by the timeline, whatever. It will be much clearer once you have multiple dates. And how you can do it is that just group by it, and you can see the Trump tweets index.date. So remember that the index of Trump is, well, let me just give you this, and then we can take a look to what it is about. Trump tweets. Oh, cool. So you will generate something like this. So I will find from the Trump tweets, which I have this date, and after that I create the priority text. Please group it by this. Okay, and true enough, it generates the counts of this. Then if I add text here, then there you go. So basically this is something that I want to put it and plot it out. And I think I can just do that with plot. Not really sure. I think I need to unstack. So I just can unstack it. So let me do unstack first. So basically I want to unstack the unhappy. I don't want to view it in this way, so that I can plot it. And there you go. True enough is that. But I want 2017 0 to 11 as the x-axis. Because this is not clear here, so I can just transform it. T, capital T, and you have this. And I want to plot it, so well, just plot. And true enough, I don't know why it's wrong. Something is. Let's say kind equals to bar. There you go. So I have one date here. Probably it's because line you need to have more values. So if you only have like one date and then the x is date, so it doesn't give you anything. So that's how you do it. So let me delete it. I have the list of the 3 days here. And afterwards, if you want to find the news media, I created news list. And after that, I see which has the news. So usually who gives the news is at the news. So if you see here, this unidentified. So there are some tweets that have news and some that don't have news. And afterwards, you can I'll try to count it and separate it whether it's by Hillary or by Trump. So there you go. And quite interestingly, in New York Times, there are a lot of like unhappy comments about Trump. Maybe some debates going on there, and it's very biased. But anyway, you can see that in New York Times and CNN mention about Trump a lot of times here, and Hillary is not so much. Basically, Hillary is shifting out of the race. So usually Trump is the one that getting more publicity. Maybe that's why he won. With that, thank you so much and see you in the next tutorial, topic extractions.